Over the course of the past year, I've made a ton of videos speaking about various growth stocks, stocks that I believe to be undervalued, as well as a variety of dividend stocks, which for many investors is what they're mainly after in order to create an additional source of portfolio income that can supplement the income from either their job or really any other project that they're working on. Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Griffin here, and I hope you're all having a great day as always. Now, in today's video, I wanted to speak about dividend income, more specifically whether or not it's realistic in today's market environment to try and live off of a portfolio income exclusively, whether or not that's something that's achievable. And it's a question I've been asked quite a few times by specifically new investors who might think that this is an unachievable goal that would take decades to accomplish. This is a concept that I know a lot of investors have once asked themselves or tried to envision accomplishing over the course of their investment career to, at the very least have enough income each and every month being thrown off of their investment portfolio to cover a large portion of their basic living expenses. In fact, even myself, I have many different investment and career goals that I want to hit over the course of the coming decade, but achieving a portfolio of assets that's capable of sustaining my basic living expenses each and every month in case something were to ever happen to one of my income sources, that's something that I've always wanted to achieve through mainly two forms of portfolio income that I want to speak about and share with you in today's video. So yeah, personally, over the past couple of years, I made it my #1 priority to create multiple different streams of what I call active income that you're working on each and every day to bring home some income. For example, a job, this YouTube channel, flipping real estate, etc., with the goal though of reinvesting as much of this active income as possible back into my investment portfolio in order to create this business system and investment system that is getting larger and larger each and every year through consistency of action, and that's building momentum and then compounding my passive income. All right, so with that said, let's get right into it. So first and foremost, lately I've been dividing up my investment portfolio into really 4 main categories. One of them being real estate investing that's able to create monthly consistent cash flow for me, as well as appreciation over time. So that's one of the main ways that I'm going to be sustaining monthly cash flow in my portfolio. But then when it comes to the actual stock market portfolio, there's really 3 main facets here that I've defined for myself. So I reserve a portion of my portfolio to growth investing, and then another portion of the portfolio to exchange trade funds, and then what we're going to be speaking about today is dividend growth investing, which is another portfolio all to itself, which is able to then create monthly consistent dividend income or quarterly depending on when the companies actually pay out their dividends. But dividend growth investing is the practice of buying shares of companies that have a consistent track record of distributing out dividends each and every quarter for a given period of time, and also increasing those dividend payments each and every year so that you can increase your dividend income on a yearly basis in your portfolio. And this is achieved by doing nothing more than buying and holding the shares of these companies. And it's really for this reason that dividend investing and generating dividend income is arguably the easiest and simplest form of passive income that there is. I've spoken about dividend stocks tremendously on this channel, even in some recent videos, because other than investing for appreciation of the assets, in this case the actual stocks themselves, dividends are really the only form of income that your portfolio is going to be able to generate, which can then be used to either reinvest back into purchasing more shares of these dividend stocks or other growth stocks that you want to add to the portfolio, or you can simply just use them to actually fund certain living expenses. So if you're looking to build a stock portfolio with the strategy in mind of creating enough dividend income to potentially live off of, or at least create a couple $100s per month in income to offset certain expenses, well, it's going to be really important that you carefully select the individual dividend stocks or funds that you choose to include in your portfolio, because always keep in mind that a company is in no way obligated to maintain a certain level of dividend distribution. They can choose to either cut down or even eliminate altogether a dividend. And by the way, if you want to learn more about what I look for specifically in terms of criteria for dividend stocks to include in my own portfolio, then make sure to check out the link down in the description to my full stock market investing course, which also includes a full module on dividend stock investing, and it goes into detail on the specific criteria that I look for. But the question now is, which types of stocks or funds would be good contenders to be included in your dividend portfolio? And notice I also said funds here because you can actually choose to invest in an exchange traded fund that's main investment focus is including companies that have a consistent track record of paying out a hefty dividend. For example, the iShares Core S&P Composite High Dividend Index ETF, ticker XEI, is a Canadian ETF offered by BlackRock Investments that's focused on long-term capital growth and high dividend income. In fact, the trailing 12-month dividend yield of this fund is now 5.79% net of the 0.22% management expense ratio. The advantage here with a dividend ETF over, say, individually selecting only a handful of dividend stocks is that, let's say, one of the 75 companies that is held within this fund were to eliminate their dividend, well, you're obviously not going to be as exposed to this one single holding cutting or eliminating their dividend over, say, if one of your 5 were to do the same thing. So really, by choosing a dividend ETF here, there's an even further level of passivity with your dividend investment strategy. You can really just sit back and collect your dividend payments. Now, with that said, if you are really looking for some individual dividend positions to add to your portfolio, make sure to check out the other videos on my channel that speak about dividend stocks specifically, and then also look for certain industries in Canada, such as, for example, the financial industry, utilities, energy, and real estate industries. These tend to pay out the best and consistent dividend payments in Canada. In terms of Canadian dividend stocks, a handful that I'm personally a fan of include TD Bank, Royal Bank of Canada, Fortis Incorporated, Canadian Tire, RioCan, Granite REIT, etc. What you'll notice when starting to analyze dividend stocks more carefully is what's known as the dividend yield, which you can quickly find on a stock's quote. For example, at the time of filming this video, Fortis Incorporated has a dividend yield of 3.37%. This essentially means that for every dollar that you invest into Fortis Incorporated, well, on a yearly basis, they will pay you out a dividend distribution equal to 3.37% of that $1, which in this case would be 3 cents 0.37. On average, though, as a dividend growth investor, you're going to want to invest in companies that pay out a dividend distribution typically in the range of 2.5% on the lower end to around 6% on the higher end. In this case, 3.37% for Fortis Incorporated would put it right in the middle of what would be generally acceptable for a dividend growth stock. Do keep in mind, though, that this really is just an average dividend yield range, and every company is going to pay out a different dividend yield based on a variety of different criteria and factors involved in their company and their finances. Typically, though, this is a range where the dividend yield will be considered relatively healthy, but always conduct further research into the financials of the company to justify their dividend yield. So this now brings us back to the main question of the video, though, which is how much do you really need invested in order to live off of dividend income, and is this even realistic at all? Well, considering the dividend yield range that we just looked at, an average healthy dividend yield for a portfolio is most likely going to be around the 4% range. And how much you need invested in your dividend portfolio to cover your monthly expenses obviously is going to depend on the actual expenses that you have on a monthly basis, combined with what the dividend distributions are on a monthly basis within your portfolio. So if, say, on a monthly basis your living expenses are around $1,500, well, considering that average 4% dividend yield, you would need around $450,000 invested in a dividend portfolio in order to create enough income each and every month to fully cover all of those expenses. On the flip side, in another scenario, let's say you're house hacking and you're living with 2 roommates, and as a result your monthly living expenses are only around $800. Well, in this case, you would need around $240,000 invested to cover these $800 a month in living expenses. Now, I know what you're thinking, though. A, that's a lot of money to have invested, and then B, who the heck lives off of $800 a month, or even $1,500 a month for that matter, considering that they would have hundreds of thousands of dollars invested in the market? And yeah, you know, both of these are true to a certain extent, but it really just comes down to your lifestyle choices in terms of how high your monthly expenses are, combined with really just how quickly and aggressively you want to reach this investment and savings goal for creating a larger investment portfolio. And nothing says that you need to have enough dividend income on a monthly or quarterly basis to even cover all of your expenses. There's still a lot of value in creating an additional $50 or even $100 per month from your investment portfolio that you can choose to use, or just roll right back into your investment portfolio that's compounding at a quicker pace. At the end of the day, the way I see this is that it's really a balance between over-leveraging your current active income that you're creating from your job or another form towards stuff that, you don't really need, or looking to maintain a cheaper lifestyle for a set period of time to then have more options for investing when the opportunity arises, and hopefully one day be able to be fully financially self-sufficient. Also keep in mind that even though this video is titled Living Off of Dividend Income and whether or not this is even realistic, it certainly is realistic. This is something you can strive for, but on the road to a portfolio large enough to even do so, potentially in retirement or whatnot, what I would always recommend is utilizing that dividend income to reinvest back into the portfolio, buying more exchange traded funds, buying more dividend stocks, etc. And this is really going to have a profound impact on the compounding of the value of your portfolio, and therefore achieve a portfolio large enough to sustain your monthly expenses much quicker than if you were just saving a set amount each and every month, which would follow a linear growth pattern instead of an exponential growth pattern. Let's actually take a quick look at two examples here to really illustrate my point. So in the first example, let's say you started with $0 as we all do, and you managed to save $1,000 per month. Well, it would take roughly 450 months to get to that $450,000 invested. And that doesn't take into account the fact that inflation would severely impact buying power if you were just saving. Now on the flip side, if you started once again with $0 but invested $1,000 each month into dividend growth stocks that have a proven track record of increasing their dividend payout, and you reinvested the dividends for the time being as you're growing and building your portfolio, it would take significantly less years at an average growth rate of 7% to reach that $450,000 goal, as we can see from this chart right here. We can also see in this table that by the time your portfolio reaches around $500,000 in value, it is producing more than that $1,500 a month in dividend income. And this also happens to be beneficial by the time you actually reach retirement, because in the previous example, we looked at a portfolio up to around $450,000 in value. But if you continue investing up to your retirement age, well, your portfolio is probably going to be worth over $1 million in market value, at which point your portfolio will be throwing off tens of thousands of dollars a year in dividend income. And this is really important because once you do reach retirement, instead of selling off all your positions, which would therefore create a massive capital gain that you would have to pay a lot of taxes on, if you just maintain your portfolio and take in that dividend income each and every month, this is going to be taxed at a much more favorable rate. Also, if you're incurring a dividend income within a tax-free savings account, all this income will grow and compound on a tax-free basis. Alright, with all that said though, what am I personally doing in my own dividend growth portfolio? Because full disclosure here, I don't have a dividend portfolio worth $450,000. Now, while it is a goal of mine to achieve a portfolio that's able to produce enough passive income to pretty much cover all of my living expenses, I'm looking at this right now more from a practical approach of utilizing capital that I have on hand in order to create higher returns while I'm younger, and also leverage up my money so that I can therefore grow my net worth at a much quicker pace, as well as grow the overall value of my investment portfolio, which is hopefully going to create more passive income for me at a quicker pace. And by the time I do achieve retirement, my portfolio will be able to generate tens and tens of thousands of dollars per year in passive income. So in regards to the two sub-facets of my overall portfolio and strategy that are related to more income-oriented positions, I'm looking at this from a two-pronged approach. First of all, I am consistently contributing to my dividend growth portfolio, and then I'm reinvesting all of that dividend income back into just purchasing more of the holdings in that portfolio. Because again, even though this video is about potentially living off of dividend income, in my personal opinion, utilizing $100 or $150 a month of your dividend income to fund living expenses is not necessarily worth the opportunity cost of just reinvesting back into the growth of the portfolio and therefore compounding at a quicker pace. Ultimately though, this really just comes down to your personal and financial goals and how you want to utilize your portfolio income. Just like everyone watching though, I only have a certain amount of money that I can contribute to my overall investment plan each and every month. So I'm personally looking right now at dividing up that income into multiple different facets like I spoke about at the beginning of the video. And there's only so much money that I can put towards my dividend growth portfolio, because I also want to allocate some of that money to my ETF portfolio as well as my growth portfolio, and then also the second prong to the income portion of my portfolio, which is cash flowing real estate. As of right now, I own 2 rental properties, one of them being a fourplex that cash flows around $600 per month, and the other one being a duplex that's going to cash flow around $250 to $300 per month. So right there, I'm looking at around $850 to $900 per month in cash flow just from my rental properties. And then over the course of 2021, one of my main goals is to close on 3 more rental properties, hopefully being able to achieve around $300 per month in cash flow for each one of these properties, which will put me above $1,500 per month in cash flow from those rental properties. I'm then also looking to achieve around $350 per month in dividend income from my dividend growth portfolio, which would put the overall value at around $90,000 to $100,000, which for my situation right now is definitely achievable. With that said, make sure to tailor your financial and investment goals to your current realities, and there's no race whatsoever here. All that matters is that you create a financial plan that works for your own needs. So that's pretty much it for my financial plan in 2021. And the bottom line to this video is that, is it possible to live off of dividend income? Yes, it's definitely possible. You just need to consistently contribute to your dividend growth portfolio and or exchange traded fund portfolio over a given period of time consistently in order to compound the growth as well as dividend income, which I would hope you're reinvesting back into the portfolio, all of which is going to ultimately allow you to have a portfolio of a certain value that will throw off enough cash each month to cover your living expenses. And make sure to tailor this to your own realities. It's really simple math here based on the average dividend yield of your holdings in relation to your living expenses. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. Make sure to let me know down in the comments what your investment strategy is for 2021 and what you're looking to accomplish on a financial level. Also, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like. It really helps the channel out, and consider subscribing and hitting the bell button to be notified whenever I release new and upcoming investing content. And last but not least, if you still need to open up an investment account, check out the links down below to open up a Wealthsimple trade account where you will get $25 as a bonus for sign up over the typical $10 sign up bonus. Or you can also check out Questrade where you'll get $50 free on sign up once you fund your account. So thanks a lot for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.